Well, Enoch found out that God's somebody you can walk with, you see. And we also find out from this book of Hebrews that it's by faith that you walk with God. And that without faith it's impossible to please Him. Or in other words, to say it in a positive way, it's faith that pleases Him. And God is a rewarder of those who seek Him and don't give up. Let's put it that way. God is a rewarder of those who seek Him and don't give up on Him. And so I just imagine that Enoch every day decided, this is really a great thing that I found out here, that you can walk with God. I don't know why everybody's not doing it. So he went out and walked with God, and every day he's walking with God. We don't know how long that went on. And after a while, God said to Enoch one day, you know what, Enoch, we've been walking together all these years, all this time. I just noticed you're closer to my house than your house. Come on home with me. And he was gone. And everybody said, what happened to Enoch? God took him. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm not suggesting that you pursue that and try to get translated yourself. But I like the idea that God took him. And I like the idea that the less that we exist and the more Christ exists in our lives. I think that's a good idea and worth pursuing. But here's the thought. It tells us that Enoch walked with God, and that pleased God. It pleased God that Enoch, by faith, walked with Him. He had that testimony. And we're given Enoch as an example. Now here's something I want to look at with you that might give us some practical advice on the matter. You know, when you want practical things, the book of Proverbs is where to go. Proverbs is full of practical advice. So, Elliot, if you could, would you give me Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5? If you don't want to turn there, just read it up here. Proverbs chapter 3, again, familiar verses. I'm sure you've read them before. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Now that's good advice. Before we go on, that's good advice in and of itself. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do you know what that means? That means without reservation. Now, there's one way that you trust with reservations. It's kind of like, I heard a story one time about a man who fell off a cliff, and he's fallen off this precipice, and he grabbed hold of a branch just before he fell down to his death, and he's holding onto this branch, and just desperately holding on. And in desperation, he cries out to God, and he said, God, save me. If you're up there, save me. And God speaks back to him and says, all right, I'm here, and I'm here to save you. He says, all right, save me. And so God says, I want you to trust me. Just let go. And then the man says, is there anyone else up there I can talk to? Now, see, that's trusting with reservation. But see, it says, when it says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, it means trust in the Lord and just let go, you see, without reservations. Knowing that He's worthy of complete trust, without reservation. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. You know why it says that? Because our own understanding, though valuable, I'm not down on, objecting to human understanding. But let's be honest. Our understanding is limited, and it's finite, and it has limits, and it only can go so far. But God is infinite, and He can do things, and He can take care of things we can't even foresee or understand. So we're told to trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not to thine own understanding. That means don't. Lean on is, I'm going to trust in. See, we have to operate in our own understanding. But what we lean on is the Lord. What we trust in and throw all of our weight on, so to speak, is the Lord. Okay, next verse. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. In all thy ways. Now, thy ways mean yours. It means your ways. That means your life and the things that you do. And your ways are different than... We all have our own paths that we take and our own life that we live. But it's speaking to us and saying, each of us as individuals, in all thy ways acknowledge Him. Now, what does it mean to acknowledge someone? Well, here's what it means. If you're sitting in a room, let's just say reading a book, and someone that you know walks in, or just someone walks in, maybe that you don't know. You're reading a book, someone walks in the room. You've got a choice. You can ignore them and go on with what you're doing, or you can acknowledge them. Now, let's just say I'm at home, reading a book, and my wife walks in the room. Now, I could just keep on reading, but what I usually say is I look up and I acknowledge her. I acknowledge her presence. So, oh, hello. Anything you need? Can I help you do anything? That means I acknowledge that they're there. See, I acknowledge her when she walks in the room. Or, if I'm down here at the church and, working on the computer, and let's just say Paul walks in, what would you think if I just kept on working and just ignored him, you know? Well, he's there, but I haven't really acknowledged him. But I stop what I'm doing. Hey, hello, Paul. What do you need? What can we do today? What do you want to do? Or, you know, I acknowledge him. And so it says here, think about it this way. In all thy ways, acknowledge him, meaning the Lord. That means just like if somebody that you knew, that you loved, walked in the room, you'd stop what you're doing and acknowledge them. In all your ways, in your life, in the things that you do, acknowledge that he's there. Now, here's something practical and something that I dare you to try this for a week. Just when you think about it. Now, you don't have to, but I'm just putting this out as a challenge for anybody that wants to. You know, on all the things that you do, it says in all thy ways. So whatever it is that you're doing, when you think about this, remember what we talked about this morning. And just acknowledge him. Say, Jesus, I know you're here. Why don't we walk together today? Why don't you, let's just hang out together today. Here's what it says. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and then he shall direct thy paths. Isn't that interesting? He shall direct thy paths. Now, we like to think that we direct our own paths, and we do to a certain extent, but I tend to think that he might have a little more capacity to direct my paths better than I can, perhaps. Maybe. I mean, I'm willing to give it a try. How about you? Here's what it says. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. So all it tells us to do is acknowledge him. Just acknowledge him. So here's my challenge to you. During the week, next week, when you think of it, just say, Jesus, I acknowledge you. I know you're here. Let's just walk together today. Why don't you direct my paths today? Let's just see how it's different and see what kind of paths you can direct me in. So I just throw that out to you. Now I'm talking about walking with Jesus by faith. We used Enoch as an example. We used Proverbs as a little practical illustration. I want to talk now about the benefits of walking with him. If you would, just for a moment, look in Galatians chapter 5. The benefits of walking with Jesus. Galatians chapter 5. It says he'll direct our paths. You know, when we're walking with him, when we're doing these things that we just talked about, sort of like Enoch, you know, walking with the Lord, and he's invisible, and you can't see him, and everyone must have thought Enoch was strange. Look at what it says in Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. This, I believe, is what's meant by walking in the Spirit. Or another translation says walking by the Spirit. Because what we're doing is directing our attention away from physical things to something spiritual. When you address Jesus, when you acknowledge him, when you believe that he's with you, you are turning your mind and your attention away from just physical things and acknowledging that something that you can't see is real. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It's turning your mind and your attention and your heart away from the physical world to the spiritual world. So here's what Paul says, Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. This I say, then walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lusts of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would. It's very interesting to read various translations and various commentators. Usually what people say about that last phrase where it says you cannot do the things that you would, usually the take that they put on it is, if you walk in the Spirit, then it stops you from doing what you want to do, which they presume you want to do. You want to walk in the flesh. But I don't read it this way. What I see in it is, in verse 17, the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and that conflict keeps you from doing the things that you would. And what Christians would, and what Christians want to do, is walk in the Spirit and walk with the Lord. But it's this constant conflict between the flesh and the Spirit is what I think he's saying. So he says in verse 16, go back to that one more time. This I say, then walk in the Spirit. Now what does it mean? Well, we imagine sometimes in our mind that walking in the Spirit is like being in a trance, or really, kind of out there, and kind of like somebody, a zombie sort of, walking around and unaware of your surroundings. I don't think it's that way at all.